Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Official Rules, a Sweepstakes podcast. I am once again your host, Jay Victor, and thank you again for joining me today for episode number 7, being recorded this Tuesday, September 17th of 2024. On today's episode, we'll be going through another top 5 list, as well as a bit more new information on possibly some upcoming news as far as the podcast goes, as well as a streak being in danger. But before we get into that, if you have anything to add, if you have any awesome recent wins, biggest of all time, or just something you find interesting, any questions, comments, ideas, thoughts that you would like to add to this or any other topic, feel free to email me at sweepstakespodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's sweepstakespodcast@gmail.com. So, if you're a wrestling fan, much like Goldberg's streak in the 90s during the WCW days, my sweepstakes winning streak is in definite jeopardy. So, as I mentioned, today is the 17th. We have just about 2 weeks left in the month. And from the 1st until today, the 17th, I have not won a single thing. And that is putting my streak in danger. I have won something since, big or small, one little thing every month since July of 2022. So the countdown starts. And surprisingly enough, considering, as we mentioned in other podcasts, how busy, absolutely busy August was, I was so surprised not to win anything yet. And I keep hitting refresh during the podcast, thinking that's going to change. But we'll see what happens. If I don't win, then obviously not a big deal. Those things happen, and we can't win all the time. It's just the luck of the draw. But the good news is somebody is out there winning. So that is wonderful news. So good luck and congratulations to those of you who have won this month and last month. And wish you all the best going forward. Keeping it kind of outside the lines of winning and good luck and good juju. Before we get into the top 5 list, I saw a question come across one of the forums this week of what are the sweepstakes you guys do not enter, that you do not bother with, or maybe what are the ones that you see all the time that you never hear of anyone winning. And whenever that question is posed, it's usually pretty easy for me. And there's some that I entered that maybe I should stop because I never see or hear of anyone that I know or anybody in the sweepstakes groups winning it recently, at least. I mean, once in a while, you'll hear of someone that says, oh, yeah, I won from such and such company quite some time ago. But those are few and far between. Number one, the ones I tend to stay away from, the ones that say unlimited entry. So as much as I love this hobby, I'm not going to spend an inordinate amount of time entering and entering and entering. Now, if the prize is like $1 million, maybe I'll dedicate a day or two to it. But usually the ones that you see for unlimited entries is not a massive type of prize like that. And I'm curious as to why something like that would be allowable. Maybe it could be tied to the companies that tie entries to purchasing products off their website, and they say, hey, there's no limit, buy as much stuff as you want. We're not going to cap the amount of entries. But the unlimited, maybe I'll throw one in, but I typically stay away from those and don't really bother putting in the time and effort towards trying to win one of those. Another one that goes along with that and this will tie in pretty well to the one after it, so I'll just mention them both. A lot of people don't bother doing any of the Gleam sweepstakes where Essentially, you have a login that is always there. If you have cookies on your computer, your login info always seems to pop, and it saves the Gleam info. But it seems like a way of farming for posts and likes and stuff on Twitter or X, or, following this subscriber, which in turn, I notice a lot of those Gleam sweepstakes, whether they be for, the ones I usually notice are for a computer, a laptop, or a PlayStation 5, they're typically open worldwide with a very, very few countries that are excluded or on some banned list. But as soon as you open it up worldwide, I mean, you're talking our country in the United States, population, between 350 and 400 million. You open it up worldwide, you're adding, another, 7 billion people on top of that. So sometimes not worth your while, throw your name in the hat, see what happens. But those are typically contests I don't seem to chase too often. And the last ones that I never hear of people winning, but guilty as charged, I enter them every day. Whenever they expire, there's a new one that comes up. HGTV, Food Network, TLC, that whole family of channels, which I will say I don't mind the programming on there. There are a couple shows that I'll watch from time to time. And when I say a couple shows, when I think about it, it's really only diners, drive-ins, and dives that I can watch obsessively. I don't know why. But I enter those all the time. I don't hear of anybody in the sweepstakes groups winning them, or I don't see anybody posting on forums like Sweepstakes Advantage, unless I'm missing it, seeing posting on Sweepstakes Fanatics. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could shoot me an email, let me know if you won, or you're a part of a group of people that say, hey, there's, plenty of us who have won these, but I certainly don't see it. But who knows? Keep entering. Keep putting your name in the hat. We'll see what happens and go from there. So before we get on to the top 5, last note, thank you so much for listening, for subscribing. This has been a super fun journey in starting up a podcast in regards to a hobby that I really love. I was originally, when I was looking to do a podcast, I had been in the car business for about 14 years. And I had batted around the idea with a buddy of mine to, start a podcast for people in car sales and people that work in car dealerships. And I was still going to do that when I recently separated from an employer that I was with for 14 years, my first place in the car business. Nothing terrible. They just, obviously in the car business, and depending on what brand you're in, car business is tough. My position was eliminated. Blessing in disguise. I've been able to take some well-needed time off to hang out with my family. And those of you out there, if you've been in the car business for any certain amount of time or have family members, a spouse, kids in the car business, it's very fruitful. You can make some great money, but it basically sucks the life out of you. So my buddy and I were batting around the idea of starting a car business or a car type podcast. And then when I finally thought about it, I was like, okay, well, I've been working at this. I've been doing this as work, as labor for 14 years. And now I'm going to come home. I'm going to take up my personal time to talk about something that I really don't love. So I flushed that idea after planning it out for a little bit of time. And I figured, okay, I guess that's not going to work. And then when I thought about it and I looked it up, I saw that, there's possibly room to do a podcast about sweepstakes, and it doesn't have to be anything serious. It doesn't have to be monetized. I don't need to, provide links. It could just be an informal and friendly chat talking about the hobby we like hey, did you know about this sweepstakes? I thought this was cool. Hey, I won this. And just keeping it very casual. So once again, thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you for subscribing on whichever platform you listen on. As of today, we're on several minor platforms, but of course, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, which are some of the bigger hitters out there. So thank you once again for listening, and I look forward to keeping on with this journey. And I'm not going to say anything now, but there'll be some big news within the next possibly one or two podcasts of something special that is going to happen. Appearances made, people spoken to, people seen, but we'll get back to that at another time once everything's in place, but I am super excited about it. So, our top 5, and once again, apologies for recording this on a Tuesday, super busy weekend, and then an amazing nail-biter of a Monday football game between the Eagles and the Falcons. Truth be told, I am a lifelong Raiders fan from Oakland to Los Angeles to Oakland and now in Las Vegas. However, I am also a huge proponent of fantasy football, and I am typically in 2 leagues, and the league I was playing in yesterday that had a win-or-loss on the line, I was basically done, settled at 94 points. The guy I was playing had one of the Eagles wide receivers, I believe it was Devonta Smith, and the Eagles kicker. It came down all the way to the end, but even in what they call a PPR league where they get points just for making the catch, if Devonta Smith had caught the last ball, my game was over. As luck would have it, the Falcons intercepted after an amazing Kirk Cousins comeback. And I got to sleep real late, and there was no time to do the podcast. So, thank you for waiting up. One day delayed, but here we go with Jay Victor's top 5. Now, these are sweepstakes that I found within the last week, not necessarily a starting date. So some of these may have started slightly more than a week ago, but these are usually typically newer. So starting out at number 5, and this one changes every week. If anyone's ever won these, I would love to know, but usually a good amount of different prizes, and they really keep it interesting as far as the sweepstakes they put out there. And this is T-Mobile Tuesdays giveaway. Single entry, as usual. It runs for an entire week. This particular one from September 17th through September 23rd. Open to all of our friends in the 50 United States, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands who are at least 16 years old. Very simple. Single entry, 5 grand prize winners. Each person of those 5 will win a $2,000 Amazon gift card. So doesn't get any more simpler. If you're not a T-Mobile person or a owner or a subscriber, whatever you want to call it, if you're on Sweepstakes Fanatics, Todd usually has a link to the regular site where you can enter in. If you are not a subscriber, if you are a T-Mobile subscriber, they have a T-Mobile app that you can enter in every week. I usually don't go over these because they are released on Tuesdays, and the podcast usually gets recorded on a Sunday or Monday. But this is a good one. T-Mobile Tuesdays, single entry, runs once a week. This week happens to be 5 winners getting a $2,000 Amazon gift card. Good luck to everybody there. For number 4, the car guy in me selected and was maybe a little bit biased to number 4, the Carvana Road to the PPA Tour Pickleball Finals Sweepstakes. This is going to be open to the residents of the 48 contiguous United States. My apologies to our friends in Alaska and Hawaii. This includes DC, included in the sweepstake, ages 21 and older. Start date September 12th, ending November 15th. So just about 2 months to enter. Limit of 3 entries per household. 1 regular entry, 1 additional entry for Twitter, and 1 additional entry for Facebook. 2 grand prize winners on this one. The minor part of it will be a 3-day, 2-night trip for 1 to the Carvana PPA Tour CIBC PPA Finals in San Clemente, California. Round trip airfare for 1 person to Los Angeles. Seems like a slightly lonely trip. So if you're taking your significant other or a friend, you're going to have to pop for a ticket and possibly an upgrade to the hotel room. But basically, it looks like you're getting a trip to watch a pickleball tournament. So good luck to those. That's the minor part of it. The big part of it is that those 2 grand prize winners each will be getting a $35,000 credit toward a car purchase through Carvana. So Carvana, typically done online, was a competitor in my business for a long time, as I was a used car buyer, manager, sales manager for many years. But a $35,000 credit, which I like the sweepstakes, and I made the list because you could choose something all the way up there, or you could choose something that's slightly less, basically on whatever kind of car you're looking for. And if you don't want that much of a tax implication, you don't have to get a $35,000 car. You could get a $30,000 or $25,000 or a $20,000 or a $15,000 car. The assumption being is you will only get taxed on the amount of car that you choose through Carvana. So essentially kind of like a single entry. They got a couple bonus entries, but for all intents and purposes, we'll call this single entry. 2 winners, $35,000 credits toward Carvana. Good luck to everybody on that one. And number 3, wouldn't you know, another car sweepstakes. The Honda Austin City Limits Sweepstakes. A daily entry open to residents of the 50 United States and DC, ages 18 and older. Start date September 3rd, ending October 13th. So a little bit over 1 month to enter. It is a daily entry, so you want to make sure, however you're saving it, whether bookmarking it or saving it in your space, put this in for a daily entry. 1 grand prize winner is going to receive a 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid Sport Touring Vehicle, specifically as listed, solar silver with black trim. They're pegging this retail value at $28,750. So a daily entry, but it's a Honda Civic. If you do the maintenance, you'll have that car for 20 to 30 years. So good luck to everybody who is entering that sweepstakes. Number 2 is a biggie. The Great American Home and Garden Refresh $100,000 giveaway. $100,000 cash money. And as a kicker, a $1,500 gift card for Steel Yard Tools and Equipment. Fantastic brand. I'm an owner, so I will say that. The winner will also get a design consultation with the host of HGTV's Fixer to Fabulous. Plus, 2 winners will get $10,000 cash and a design consult as well. To be eligible, you must own a single family home. So always make sure to read the official rules. This is a daily entry contest. This is open to our friends in the 48 lower states. Apologies again to our friends in Alaska and Hawaii. DC also included, ages 21 and older. But again, remember, you must own a single family residence. This goes through September 13th through November 8th. So this one's going to be just short of 2 months. Total of 3 winners. Big winner gets $100,000. 2 second place Well, they have it listed here as a second and third place, but the prize is the same. $10,000 check along with that design consult. A lot of money up for grabs on that one, so good luck to everybody entering that. I sure could use $100,000. And the last one that we have here, so you figure the $100,000 would normally be first place on the top 5. Why wouldn't this be first place? Well, folks, I will tell you, it's not always about the total amount. Again, it's the ease of entry, the inclusion, the amount of prizes. Yes, it has to do sometimes with the amount of the prize. But this one struck me because, as we were talking about football earlier, this one kind of struck a chord with me as well. The cross-country mortgage dedicated dog sweepstakes. Now, you heard me mention I am a diehard Raiders fan for my entire life, ever since I was a wee lad. But if you were to ask me who my favorite player is of all time, and there's a lot to go along with it, there's a lot of stories, and you could talk about it for a long time, and I won't get into the details of it. My favorite player of all time is a player who's not on an NFL team, although I feel there are some teams that can use his services, who's had a hard go about it, and it's a life lesson for, I would say, everybody, and maybe even younger people of your life, of, you know, life is not always fair, and never waste the talent you're given. And my favorite player of all time is Josh Gordon. So Josh Gordon's rookie year in the NFL was 2012. He started 2013, his sophomore year, with a 2-game suspension. So mind you, he sat out the first 2 games of the 2013 season, exploded onto the NFL scene, ended up with, I believe it was over 1,600 yards for the season. Mind you, again, 2-game suspension, so he missed out on 2 games. I believe to this day, and fact check me if I'm incorrect, but I believe the only wide receiver ever to have back-to-back games of over 200 yards receiving. And he had a magical season in 2013, B, won me a bunch of fantasy leagues that I was in the time. From there, unfortunately, had his issues with the rules of the NFL at the time, with what they considered substance abuse, smoking marijuana, which, go figure, is supposedly legal in many states right now and not really looked at by the NFL anymore. So unfortunately, Josh Gordon and his talents came too early to the NFL, and he was suspended, time after time, and then he left the Patriots after catching Tom Brady's 500th touchdown. He did get a ring with the Patriots for that Super Bowl winning team. And then he went on to the Seahawks, and the last team he played for, I believe 2 years ago, was he was on the Kansas City Chiefs, and then he had a little spot with the Tennessee Titans. Had a great season in the XFL with the Seattle Sea Dragons, but the XFL, like happened with the first go-around, the Seattle Sea Dragons only lasted 1 year, and then I think it's the UFL now, or one of the semi-pro leagues. He didn't bother. He said he wasn't interested in playing spring football. And following him on Instagram, he's doing a lot of golfing now. So best of luck, Josh Gordon, Flash, great football player. Anyway, digressing and getting back to the number one sweepstake for this year, the Cross Country Mortgage Dedicated Dog Sweepstakes. So win $25,000 cash, plus one winner will get a trip to see the Cleveland Browns take on the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas, Nevada. Go figure. How awesome would that be for me to win it? Plus one winner will get a trip for two to attend the NFL draft in Green Bay. Plus 14 winners will get 2 club level or dog pound tickets to attend Cleveland Browns game. 2 winners get a pair of iPods. This is a single entry, so super easy. It's open to all of our friends across the 50 United States, including DC, who are 18 years of age and older. Start date is August 1st. This one's a little longer, so it runs to January 5th of 2025, but single entry, so do it now, do it later, just do it. And if you go to Sweepstakes Fanatics, you will see the exact rundown of the prize breakdown as far as the dates of several games, the tickets, whether they're club level, regular, dog pound, everything. And honestly, the trip for 2 to the NFL draft in Green Bay, that would be pretty awesome as well. Inclusive round-trip commercial airfare, lodging, passes for one night, for night 1 and 2, of the draft. That one has a retail value of $5,000. So, open to everybody, single entry, plenty of time to enter, tons of prizes, and honestly involves my favorite team and the team of my favorite player. So why not? So perfect timing there. That's going to do it for this episode. Again, big news coming up. But once again, thank you for listening to Official Rules, a sweepstakes podcast. I'm Jay Victor. Have a great day.
This has been a father and son production.